Spring is a lovely time to explore, and if you are wondering what the best day trips are in the Pacific Northwest, well, I've got you covered. There are tons of different options, but in this video, I am choosing just 5 day trips, locations that are within a couple of hours of Vancouver, Washington to go over. I've already done videos on Long Beach, Washington and the San Juan, so I'm going to link those above so you can check those out separately, and they're not going to be talked about in this video. Thank you for watching. I make a new video every week on life and real estate in Southwest Washington. If you are thinking about making a move to the Vancouver area, I would love to hear from you. My contact information is in the description below, so don't be shy. I really do love to hear from people who have found me on YouTube and want to learn more about what it's like to live in Vancouver, Washington, and want some advice about what the market is like. I've talked to a lot of people lately who are just not really wanting to fly. Maybe it's because there seems to be a news article every day about parts falling off of planes mid-flight. But if you are someone who wants to keep your feet firmly on the ground and also explore the Great Pacific Northwest, here are some local travel ideas. My first suggested day trip is a no-brainer and probably the top of everyone's list. Seaside, Oregon. Seaside is a 2-hour drive from Vancouver. It is a resort town right on the Pacific Ocean with a super cute downtown right off of the beach. Their 1.5-mile long boardwalk, which is called the Promenade, leads you to the Seaside Aquarium. Other things to do in Seaside include surfing or watching surfers because that is freezing cold, stand-up paddleboarding or kayaking on the 𝐦𝐚𝐽𝐽 River. Might have just totally butchered how you say that one. Another big draw is razor clamming, but make sure to check when the season is open so you don't get a ticket. If you've got kids, they are sure to love the Funland Arcade. There's so much to do in Seaside, and if you want to make the most of it, you can order a visitor's guide from the Seaside Visitors Bureau before your trip so you can have your full planning time ahead of the action, and I'll post a link to that down in the description below. If you've already done the whole Seaside Oregon coast thing, another great day trip would be heading over to Hood River, Oregon. You would just drive down the Columbia River Gorge, and it's beautiful. It's super special because of the gorgeous views. On your way to Hood River, you are going to pass Multnomah Falls, which should also be on your to-do list if you haven't done that. Walking to the top of Multnomah Falls, it's super fun. You need to do it. It's not crazy hard in terms of hiking, but it is worth it for sure. And when you're in Hood River is the windsurfing capital of the world, so keep your eyes peeled on your drive for windsurfers out on the Columbia River. Sometimes they are so thick on the river that you wonder how they don't get all tangled up together. Once you're in Hood River, there will be no shortage of options of things to do. You can hang out at one of the mini breweries or wine rooms, take a hike, go mountain biking, or check out the Fruit Loop, which I have done a video on that before too. I'll put it here. If you are a little more on the adventurous side, I would recommend taking a day to explore Mount St Helens and the 8 Caves, which are in the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. You do have to time this one right. The 8 Caves are only open from May 18th through the end of October. Before we go into that, let's talk about visiting Mount St Helens. There is a visitor center to check out. You can grab a map and information about the area. Then you can take a trail on a 2-mile loop around the marshland that's like around the visitor center. And then from there, you can go to the Mount St Helens Forest Learning Center where you can find a great view of the volcano and a trail that takes you a little bit higher to a better viewpoint. After that, head to Johnston Ridge Observatory, and that's where the best view is of the volcano, and another trail to another scenic viewpoint. This would be a great opportunity to like pack a bag lunch, hike, have a picnic. If you'd rather climb than observe, you can actually climb Mount St. Helens. When I was in high school, my soccer team did this. We camped at the bottom of the mountain, woke up early, and did the hike in one day, up and back. It was pretty cold, even in July. All right, another thing you can do is check out the 8 Caves. 8 Cave is the 3rd longest lava tube. It's 2.5 miles long in North America, and cave temperature is about 42 degrees Fahrenheit all year round. I have not been here for years and years and years, but I do remember this field trip when I was in school, and I loved it. It was so cool. So these caves are obviously, they're pitch black, they're lava tubes, over 2 miles long. There are two of them. So there is a 3/4 mile one-way lower cave. That's pretty easy and family friendly. And then a 1.5 mile upper cave route, and that's more challenging. And it includes a climb up an 8-foot rock wall and some scrambling, and then you would exit through a different point. I have included a link to that also in the description down below. Another option would be to check out Astoria, Oregon. Astoria is a charming port town on the Oregon coast, located right at the mouth of the Columbia River, right where the river meets the Pacific Ocean. While you are there, you can visit the Oregon Film Museum to learn about the movies that were filmed in Oregon, including the Goonies, which was filmed in Astoria. You can drive by the Goonies house. Take a stroll down the Astoria River Walk, which is a historic trail running adjacent to the Columbia River. And that river walk goes right through the heart of downtown Astoria. And along the trail, you can stop at Pier 39 for a coffee and take a tour of the Cannery Museum. All of downtown is accessible from that Riverwalk trail, so it's a great starting point for your trip. Another great stop is the Columbia River Maritime Museum, where you can learn about the history of the Columbia River. There is a lot to explore and do in Astoria, and this is a great quick trip from Vancouver. My last suggestion is taking a day trip to Olympia to check out the Washington State Capitol building and do some sightseeing. You can tour the government buildings and then head north for some lunch and shopping. Percival Landing Park is a popular destination in Olympia. It has an almost 1 mile long boardwalk where you can take in the waterfront and downtown views. Have you explored Washington and Oregon much? What are your favorite places? I would love to hear about it in the comments down below.